We should be eating ice cream outside.
Agreed. That's your new policy platform.
That's
more ice cream outside. Hot take. Nobody said it before.
Nobody said it before.
Welcome to Check Please. I'm here at Tava on 5th Avenue with Council Member Shahana Hanif, and we have one burning question for you. What is the iconic New York City food?
I gotta go with pizza.
Do you have like a special pizza order? Do you do pineapple on pizza?
I am a plain cheese girly, but I also love like a heavily veggie loaded slice. I do like trying new toppings on pizza. So pineapple, sure.
Right now, we're at an outdoor dining establishment. Can you tell me more about what your favorite thing about outdoor dining is?
I just loved being able to eat outside and see neighbors and just see daily life and get to try new foods. Being able to sit outside gives a certain calm and joy, community feeling. It felt like the patrons that I'd eat with, like we were part of a big community.
I feel like your district, from like Kensington to Windsor Terrace, like has so many like famous dining establishments. Do you want to shout out any of the best like outdoor dining restaurants in the district?
Okay, this one is, for obvious reasons, tough. I will say that you're right. From Kensington in the south part of my district, Gowanus, Columbia Street waterfront, we have got many A+ outdoor dining restaurants. I really love Palo Santo and Cella, also on 5th Avenue. I gotta give a shout out to Brooklyn Pharmacy and Soda Fountain. I love having a big ice cream sundae outside.
Which we've been to together, by the way.
Together. We should be eating ice cream outside.
Agreed. That's your new policy platform. More ice cream outside. Hot take. Nobody said it before.
Nobody said it before.
So obviously the program has changed a lot since its initial iteration in 2020. I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit more about how the program has changed and something you maybe miss about the original iteration.
The iteration of open dining or open restaurants gave our community restaurants creativity and freedom to really determine how they wanted their outdoor dining to look like. And I think that's very meaningful. It gave us as neighbors conversations about like, hey, have you checked out, this restaurant's open dining setup or this one? And now the costs are so high that many restaurants are just like, I'm not gonna do this because it costs so much to set it up and get accepted. And then you have to put your furniture away.
Yeah.
And then there's just restrictions around how much space you could take up on the sidewalk, on the roadway. I think it creates so much complications that it doesn't feel good to even attempt to try to have outdoor seating.
What are some kinds of legislation that City Council could pass to kind of help restaurants, like close the gap between restaurants that want to have outdoor dining but can't for the reasons you just listed?
I don't think we need to pass legislation. I mean, there was a lot of conversation around what Dining Out NYC, the program, should look like, and unfortunately, we made it very difficult. So I'd like us to undo some of this process of how to get accepted for open. It shouldn't be that you're accepted to be able to have that kind of establishment. I would first focus on making sure that smaller restaurants, smaller businesses can participate. Right now, smaller businesses are incapable of participating because of the high costs. I would say that it should be year-round, that the Department of Transportation should be providing the furniture and allow for all communities to know what this program is. I think the outreach was very poorly done. And just like allowing restaurants to work with one another. I mean, right now it's so siloed that one restaurant on the sidewalk will have, and it feels like you're a VIP restaurant and others won't. It just feels inequitable.
Totally. And so you mentioned outdoor dining year-round. Some of your colleagues in City Council think that people don't use their restaurants year-round. I'm wondering if you could tell us a story or a memory of people using public space in the winter months.
Look, I love getting out in the winter. I love a chilly night dinner, but also the restaurants had capacity to
Totally.
You know, thinking about a winter memory, I would shout out Pasta Louise. That was one of the first restaurants that I was thrilled to have participated in.
We also went there together, fun fact.
Their pasta is delicious.
Yes.
And it was a winter delicacy.
Yes. Thank you so much. This looks really good. What did you get?
I got an iced tea.
And what did you want to get for the camera?
Outside, so I need something cold. Hi.
Excuse me, I just wanted to say, I think you got funding for the dog park over
Yes.
here, and I wanted to say thank you.
I appreciate
Very
that.
nice space.
I appreciate
really
that.
enjoy it.
I am happy to hear
Get that in the
our cute dog constituent here loves it. What's her name?
Lula.
Hi, Lula. She was like, I'm gonna climb, but not really. I don't know you.
Hi. Hey. Okay, so your district is home to the iconic Avenue C Plaza and Kensington Plaza, which you were instrumental in creating. Can you tell me one of your favorite stories of Kensington Plaza?
I have so many favorite stories. One from a very recent time, I got a call from an auntie who was like, look, we love the plaza, but anytime me and my friends are here, we are told to leave by the men. And you know, one big part of the reason why I focus so much on open spaces and public plazas was because of the gender inequities in the neighborhood I grew up in. And so I went down there just to assess what was happening, speaking to the uncles and saying like, look guys, like this is our space. This is our shared space. No one should have to feel like they can't sit here because they're a woman. And then they were like, okay, how about we get more chairs and tables? And I was like, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. But that also means that there needs to be more maintenance. And you know, it's a struggle with having so few dollars to take care of our plazas. And the Department of Transportation, of course, has been helpful, as has the sanitation department. But if there's no active maintenance, we are very close to losing our plaza. And right now, you know, the neighbors have done their part. They clean up after themselves, but sometimes it's a big mess. And I hear from constituents from the blocks nearby saying like, hey, there's trash buildup again. And what are you gonna do about this constant eyesore?
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear you talk about like gender justice in public spaces in your district, and it always makes me think about Avenue C's feminist Iftar. And I'm wondering if you could share a story from feminist Iftar of years past.
So the Avenue C Plaza has been a gem, and as a first generation Bangladeshi Muslim woman, this was very important to my upbringing because young women didn't have a ton of outdoor hangout spots. And that plaza specifically is surrounded by a masjid, a yeshiva, and another masjid. And so we're right in the middle of religious institutions. And it just felt really powerful to be able to be taking up space. And so one thing that groups like Arts and Democracy and Artville Studio began in partnership with my predecessor, former Council Member Brad Lander, and which we've carried on with my office, is the annual Iftars. And each of the Iftars bring around 200 to 300 people, if not more. The diversity of Brooklynites eating together and breaking their fast together with restaurants that are serving diverse halal food, with a portion of the evening being artists, Muslim feminist artists sharing their poetry, their prose, their art. And it's a significant thing to be taking up space outdoors for identities that have been forced to be on the margins or forced to be inside.
And my next question is, you're a bit of a restaurant nepo baby. Your dad famously ran a restaurant in your district. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
That restaurant, which is now called Radhuni, is an homage to Bangladeshi food, but also ensuring that our community has a space to have everyday Bangladeshi food is radical. And that was the point especially after 9/11, to make sure that our community felt safe to gather. Given just the uptick of surveillance and racial profiling, these restaurants served a very important role. Radhuni means cook, and my father, when he arrived to New York City, he had to prepare his own food. And my mother also tells me that when she arrived after they got married, that he was still cooking. She didn't know how to cook. So, it's a special story about my father and his immigration journey, to know just how much love of not just being in New York City, but also ensuring that we were preserving Bangladeshi food.
Okay, so are there any really good Bangladeshi restaurants that have outdoor dining in New York City?
I gotta give a shout out to Fuchka House. They are a fuchka vendor in Jackson Heights, but they have vendors across the city. And honestly, our street vendors are our original open dining setups.
Totally.
The only way to eat fuchka is outside, is on the sidewalk.
And so obviously shout out to our street vendors. And are there any upcoming ways that we can support street vendors or council members can support street vendors?
Well, I'm excited to override the mayor's veto on making sure that street vendors are not criminalized. They should not be receiving a criminal summons as a fine, or if they are not up to par with some of the city's regulations. Our street vendors are our smallest business owners. They allow New York City to remain cheap and affordable and delicious. And our street vendors do a ton of work to keep our community safe. Our streetscape often does not have good lighting. So a street vendor is able to ensure that at any given time of the day, our streets are safe. And also, these are folks who are primarily immigrant, and we don't have enough licenses. We have stopped giving out vendor licenses. That has created a real challenge for these street vendors, and this is manufactured by the city. If we had enough licenses, we would not have to be giving them criminal summonses. We should not be criminalizing any of these businesses.
And so what's your favorite restaurant to get takeout from in the district?
I gotta give a shout out to Genit. Love Ethiopian food. It delivers really well. I've had friends ask, you gotta only eat Ethiopian food in the restaurant. No, you don't. You can order. And I want to give a shout out to our delivery workers. They allowed New York City restaurants and businesses to not only survive during COVID and our hardest times, but also thrive. And I do a ton of work around ensuring that our deliverista community is safe. They don't have adequate protections like sick time, paid sick time. And oftentimes after an injury, they have to rely on our community. And I have to give a shout out to Daisy's Rising Up and Moving, Drum, and Workers' Justice Project, organizations that have really looked out for our delivery workers and have fought for a wage that is up to par with other sectors, and continuing to fight for more protections.
And final question for you, it's a very serious question, okay? What is your bagel order?
I am a fan of Bagel World, which also has outdoor seating.
A block from here?
Block from here. I also want to give a shout out to Bagel Hole, La Bagel Delight. I mean, I have so many.
Well, what do you put on the bagel? What do you put on the bagel? I'm right. Okay.
I am a scallion cream cheese on a sesame, not toasted. There are some days that I want a toasted bagel, but that's the order. I keep it simple.
No fish.
No fish.
Wow. And with that, check please. Awesome. Anything I missed that we should add in?